But for now, let's just see how this goes. Round. We'll just go straight up.
And so, by a backhanded, upside-down argument, was predicted that there is in carbon a level at 7.82 million volts, and then experiments in the laboratory with carbon show indeed that there is. And therefore, the existence in the world of all these other elements is very closely related to the fact that there is this particular level in carbon. But the position of this particular level in carbon seems to us, after knowing the physical laws, to be a very complicated accident of 12 complicated particles interacting. So I wish to illustrate by this example that an understanding of the physical laws doesn't give you an understanding in a sense of understanding significance of the world in any way. The details of real experience are very far often from the fundamental laws. There are, in a way of speaking in the world, we have a way of discussing the world which you could call, we discuss it at various hierarchies or levels. Now, I don't mean to be very precise, there's a level, there's another level, and another level, but I will indicate by describing a set of ideas to you, just one after the other, what I mean by hierarchies of ideas. For example, at one end, we have the fundamental laws of physics. Then we invent other terms for concepts which are approximate, who have, we believe, the ultimate explanation in terms of the fundamental laws. For instance, heat. Heat is supposed to be the jiggling, and it's just a word for a hot thing is just a word for a mass of atoms which are jiggling. For that, fundamentally, we should think of the atoms jiggling. But for a while, if we're talking about heat, we sometimes forget about the atoms jiggling. Just like when we talk about the glacier, we don't always think of the hexagonal ice snowflakes which originally fell. Another example of the same thing is a salt crystal. Looked at fundamentally, it's a lot of protons, neutrons, and electrons. But we have this concept, salt crystal, which carries a whole pattern already of fundamental interactions, or idea like pressure. Now, if we go higher up from this, in another level, we have properties of substances like refractive index, how light is bent when it goes through something, or surface tension, the fact that the water tends to pull itself together, is described by a number. I remind you that we have to go through several laws down to find out that it's the pull of the atoms and so on, but we still say surface tension, and don't worry when we're discussing surface tension of the inner workings, always. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Go on, up in the hierarchy. With the water, we have the waves, and we have a thing like a storm. We have a word for storm, which represents an enormous mass of phenomena. Or sunspot, or star, which is an accumulation of things. And it's not worthwhile always to think of it way back. In fact, we can't, because the higher up we go, we have too many steps in between, each one of which is a little weak, and we haven't thought them all through yet. If we go up in this hierarchy of complexity, we get to things like frog, or nerve impulse, which you see is an enormously complicated thing in the physical world, involving an organization of matter in a very elaborate complexity. And then we go on, we come to things, words, and concepts like man, and history, or political expediency, and so forth, which is a series of concepts that we use to understand things at an ever higher level. And going on, we come to things like evil, and beauty, and hope. Now, which end is nearer to the ultimate creator, or the ultimate? So if I make a religious metaphor, which end is nearer to God? Beauty and hope, or the fundamental laws? I think that the right way, of course, is to say that the whole structural interconnections of the thing is the thing that we have to look at, and that the sequence of hierarchy, that all the sciences and all the efforts, not just the sciences, but all the efforts of intellectual kind, are to see the connections of the hierarchies is to connect beauty to history, is to connect history to man's psychology, the man's psychology to the working of the brain to the neural impulse to the chemistry, and so forth, up and down, both ways. And today we cannot, and there's no use making believe we can, draw carefully a line all the way from one end of this thing to the other. In fact, we've just begun to see that there is this relative hierarchy. And so I don't think either end is nearer to God's. And to stand at either end and to walk out off the end of the pier only, hoping out in that direction is the complete understanding, is a mistake. And to stand with evil and beauty and hope, or to stand with the fundamental laws, hoping that way to get a deep understanding of the whole world with that aspect alone, is a mistake. And it is not sensible either for the ones who specialize at one end and the ones who specialize at the other end to have such disregard for each other. They don't actually, but the people say they do. So. But that actually the great mass of workers in between, connecting one step to another, are improving all the time our understanding of the world, both from working at the ends and working in the middle. And in that way, we are gradually understanding this connection, this tremendous world of interconnecting hierarchies.
If you expected science to give all the answers to the wonderful questions about what we are, where we're going, what the meaning of the universe is, and so on, then I think you could easily become disillusioned and then look for some mystic answer to these problems. How a scientist can take a mystic answer, I don't know, because the whole spirit is to understand. Well, never mind that. I don't understand that. But anyhow, if you think of it, though, the way I think of what we're doing is we're exploring. We're trying to find out as much as we can about the world. People say to me, are you looking for the ultimate laws of physics? No, I'm not. I'm just looking to find out more about the world. And if it turns out there is a simple ultimate law that explains everything, so be it. That would be very nice to discover. If it turns out it's like an onion with millions of layers and we're just sick and tired of looking at the layers, then that's the way it is. But whatever way it comes out, its nature is there and she's going to come out the way she is. And therefore, when we go to investigate it, we shouldn't pre-decide what it is we're trying to do except to find out more about it. If you say, but your problem is, why do you find out more about it? If you thought that you were trying to find out more about it because you're going to get an answer to some deep philosophical question, you may be wrong. It may be that you can't get an answer to that particular question by finding out more about the character of nature. But I don't look at it. My interest in science is to simply find out about the world, and the more I find out, the better it is. I like to find out. There are very remarkable mysteries about the fact that we're able to do so many more things than apparently animals can do, and other questions like that. But those are mysteries I want to investigate without knowing the answer to them. And so altogether, I can't believe the special stories that have been made up about our relationship to the universe at large, because they seem to be too simple, too connected, too local, too provincial. The earth, he came to the earth. One of the aspects of God came to the earth, mind you. And look at what's out there. How can he? It isn't in proportion. Anyway, it's no use arguing. I can't argue it. I'm just trying to tell you why the scientific views that I have do have some effect on my beliefs. It also, another thing, has to do with the question of how do you find out if something's true? And if you have all these theories of the different religions, have all different theories about the thing, then you begin to wonder. Once you start doubting, just like you're supposed to doubt, you ask me, is the science true? We say, no, we don't know what's true. We're trying to find out. Everything is possibly wrong. Start out understanding religion by saying everything is possibly wrong. Let us see. As soon as you do that, you start sliding down an edge, which is hard to recover from. And so with the scientific view, or my father's view, that we should look to see what's true and what may not be true, once you start doubting, which I think to me is a very fundamental part of my soul, is to doubt and to ask. And when you doubt and ask, it gets a little harder to believe. You see, one thing is I can live with doubt and uncertainty and not knowing. I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of certainty.
Did something happen on the screen?
But I'm not absolutely sure of anything. And there are many things I don't know anything about, such as whether it means anything to ask, why we're here, and what the question might mean. I might think about it a little bit. If I can't figure it out, then I go to something else. But I don't have to know an answer. I don't
That
feel
noise?
frightened by not knowing things. By being lost in the
I can't hear.
mysterious
Oh, you mean the
universe without
clicking?
having
I
to
was just
interpret
clicking my
it,
mouse.
Which is the way it really is, as far as I can tell, possibly. It doesn't frighten me.
Unless there was something else. Sounded like you were playing music. Music? I don't think so. Nope, there ain't no music here. Okay. I need a final one. Sounded like electric guitar. Nope. Okay. Let's look for cables that I haven't done. I still think that should be an actual... Oh, maybe it is. Oh, hello. There you go. There's a bonus one. Useful. I don't know what those things are actually used for. Do we think that's a... That looks like one as well, doesn't it? I'm probably going to have to do that from up top somewhere. I bet it is one, yeah. Where am I going? Quick blast. Oh, it may have been a video or something that was loading or something. I don't have sound on my PC actually playing at the moment. Right, what have we got here? Where can we go? So there's the windmill, we've just seen that. That's the reflection thing. That's... I mean reflection in terms of, like, multiple things. That's actually using the reflection thing. That's the... In fact, we know we've done all these. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. It's gotta be... More quick routes. There's this lovely quick route up here, isn't there? Maybe I should have another look around the ship, because I haven't actually found anything on that. And there's bound to be something. No, there was an audio log or something. See, look at that. That's so obviously... That's so obviously a thing. Isn't it? It's obvious. But the question is, how do we get it? Do we get it from another angle? Like, I have to be on the sofa, don't I? Maybe those cushions are about, like, if you are on here, then you can see something. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I feel like that's connecting up to there. So how do I actually get it? I don't know. Are there hanging clues in the shed? I didn't actually look at the hanging... Oh, if there was anything hanging, to be honest. This green paint is really suspicious to me. Like, there's no way that's not something. What about this? What is this? Look, there's a green outline there. It's got to be an angle thing. It's got to be about angles. Look at this. I mean, that's blatant. I think I've already got that, haven't I? I must have already got that, surely. Boat shed. Oh, I hadn't got that. No way. We can get a couple here then, am I just standing here? Oh look, there's one there as well. Wow, really? Maybe you're seeing things that aren't there. Or maybe you spotted them and I didn't. Okay, that was a nice quick 3. What about here? Oh, hello. Nice little secret thing. Discarded panel. Thank you. Ooh, I can jump down here. Ooh, okay. Oh. There must be something here beyond just an audio log. Surely there are panels or something, like a row of panels somewhere. Please. Oh, I thought that might be panels for a second. Well, we've just found something, and what... Oh, no! Why are there different colours? What? Oh my word. It's a reflection as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's a freaking reflection as well. And I can't remember. I can hear the duh, duh, duh. So which one's orange and which one is pink? Oh man, how do I do this? No, I can't do that. Let's have a think. Well, quite obviously, the black can be picked up by either. Can't it? Maybe? No? So you've got to collect them in the right order. I don't know, I mean, maybe that means that only I can pick up this colour. What about that? Oh, that worked. That actually worked. I actually wonder if that was even... I just found a solution that actually opened them all. That was it. Oh, we have found the final video. That looks a little bit like a penis. That's good. I'm glad about that. Alright, cool. I don't know if I did that correctly or not, but whatever. I just found a solution that let me pick up half of them and my invisible clone pick up the other half. And I guess that was enough. There can't be that many solutions that actually contain it. Okay. How do we get back in there? Where was the quick place? There was one in the windmill, wasn't there? That's not the quick place, that's just the way. I think. Oh no, that was a quick place. But I also went down here. I think that was a separate issue. Let's have a quick look at how many I've solved now. 515 and 33 environmentals. That's pretty good. Okay. By the looks of things, this video is going to be quite a long one, so I'm going to lie back to watch it. Because my back hurts. Was this one of the shortcuts? Around here somewhere. Oh really? I'm going to get lost again. Really? I am going to get lost, aren't I? Okay. I think it was maybe down here. It's like a secret. Nope. I'm just going to go to the windmill. You'll watch the X-Files. Yeah. The only reason I'm watching it is because there might be something that happens after it, or... I don't know. Actually, to be fair, I'm not bored by them. I'm just like... I don't understand why they're there. I guess that's the best explanation. Right, let's unlock the final one, I'm assuming. Unless weird stuff happens, but you know. Nothing weird's happened in this game at all. Unless the middle bit's going to come together. Or maybe it will once I've finished watching them. Okay, so we start here. What? Alright guys, let's enjoy this and let's talk in a minute. Yes, maybe. Really? He's not going to say anything? Who is that? Oh my god, it's so long.
Know yourself as the open, empty, luminous presence of awareness. Open because you say yes unconditionally and indiscriminately to all appearances of the mind, body, and world. Like empty space, you have no mechanism inherent within you that can resist any appearance. We don't have to make this the case, it is already the case. Empty, because although you, I, this aware presence, is aware of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions, it is not made out of a thought, a sensation, or a perception. It is made out of pure knowing or awareness. And luminous.
I agree. Must be a pain to get in conversation with this guy
Because
with his
just like
weird
the
pauses.
Sun, relatively speaking, that renders all objects seeable. So you, I, this open, empty presence, renders all experience knowable. In fact, we don't really see objects, relatively speaking, illumined by the sun. We just see reflections or modulations of the sun's light, appearing as a multiplicity and diversity of color. In the same way, we don't really know the objects of the mind, body, and the world. We just know our knowing of them. All we know, all that is known, is the knowing of experience. And you are that knowing. All that is ever known is a modulation of our own knowing presence, modulating itself in the form of thinking, sensing, and perceiving, and seeming to become a mind, a body, and a world. But we never actually know a mind, a body, and a world as they are normally conceived. We just know our knowing of them. And this knowing, the substance of our experience, the only substance of our experience, is ourself. In other words, we know ourself alone. Awareness knows nothing other than itself. Be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness. We don't need to do anything special to make this happen. Above all, we don't have to manipulate the mind in any way whatsoever to be this presence of awareness. This presence of awareness, which is simply our self, what we refer to when we say I, is ever present. Just check this in your own experience. Nothing that I am saying this evening, there is nothing that cannot be checked in your own direct experience right now. I bring no special knowledge to this meeting. I don't have a store of knowledge which I am disseminating. I'm just, within the limits of language, trying to describe the current experience. Ask yourself, do I know anything other than now? Try to experience the not now. Try first to experience the past. It's easy to experience a thought about the past. But what about the actual past to which this thought refers? Try to experience that. Can you step into the past? Can you go 1 second into the past? Or 1 second into the future? Thought can go there. But what about you? Really try to go there to make sure that this is not just an interesting philosophical conversation, but that it is actually your experience. That the past and the future are never experienced. And if the past and the future are never actually experienced, they are only thought about.
Why did the colour of the screen in
And
the
that
background just
thought
change?
about the past and the future is always now. If this past and future are never experienced, what does that say about time? Time is a movement between a non-existent past
This is weird.
towards a non-existent future.
Triangle.
It's a theory, a necessary and valid theory, but a theory that doesn't refer to the reality of our experience. Nobody has ever or could ever experience time. When I say nobody, I mean yourself, awareness, the only one that knows or is aware. When I arrived off the plane from London to in Washington, D.C. last weekend before coming here, the friend who picked me up asked me how the flight was, and she said, "How long did it take?" And I experienced
The only
thought.
thing that looks unusual about this video is that screen in the background.
being cranked
For
up
me.
like an old motor, a little resistant to get going. And for a moment, I could feel the cogs of thought almost moving, trying to work out how much time the flight had taken. Because in my experience, it had been now all the way. I had never left London.
What the hell?
London had left me.
What's with all these kind of culty mind stuff things?
I had never got onto an aeroplane. A flow of sensations and perceptions.
Yeah, I actually wondered whether the
that
screen had
thought
been added in the
abstracts
background and kind of shaped
and
around
calls
his shoulder,
a
but the
body
fact that he's moving like
in an
that suggests
aeroplane.
not.
Flowed through me. And I never arrived in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. arrived in me, or at least the cluster of perceptions that thought calls Washington, D.C. arrived in me. In the same way, nobody ever walked into this room, and nobody is sitting on a chair, and nobody is listening to a talk. A colourful flow of sensations and perceptions appears in awareness. But awareness never goes anywhere or does anything. It is always here and now, not here a place and now a time. Here, this dimensionless, now this timeless presence of our own being. That is our experience, whether we recognize it or not. Now the mind may feel a little rebellious when it hears
What's
this.
he going to say?
It may say yes, 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 that's true, but there is an undeniable continuity to my experience. And this undeniable continuity would seem to be evidence of time.
Time. Come on, mate. Show me something good.
Where does this felt sense of continuity come from? All we know of the mind is the current thought or image. And thoughts and images are intermittent. The body is known through sensation. And all sensations are intermittent. All we know of the world is perception, that is, sights, sounds, tastes, textures, and smells. In fact, nobody has ever experienced a world as such, a world as it is normally conceived to be. We just know the current perception. And all perception is
Fox Mulder, still hot.
intermittent.
I haven't seen it yet.
So if the so-called mind, body,
And
are
what?
intermittent, from where does this felt sense of continuity come from? It comes from the only thing, if we can call it a thing, that is truly continuous, or in fact not continuous, but ever present now in our experience, and that is our own being, the presence of awareness.
Who the hell filmed
Presence
this?
of awareness.
And how
is
on
the
earth
only
did they get
thing
hold of it?
that is known to be ever present.
It's weird.
Now the mind knows nothing of awareness. Because
Oh
the
my
mind
word, we're like
only knows
halfway through.
apparent objects. So when the mind
Oh,
looks
come on, game.
at experience to find what it is,
What's with those? Are they
that
going to
it
come
counts
out
for
and
continuity,
join in the middle?
it cannot see awareness. And so it manufactures a substance called time to account for the continuity of experience.
Or is that like...
In other words, continuity in time is what eternity looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind.
did they live?
Permanence in space is what the infinite, unlimited nature of awareness looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind. Continuity and permanence are pale reflections at the level of the mind of the true, eternal and infinite nature of awareness, that is, of our self.
Oh, it's a projection.
What else can we say about ourself from our actual experience? Which means right now, what can we know for certain about ourselves? Not what thought may tell us about ourselves, but what we actually know in this moment, derived only from our experience of ourself. Ask yourself, can I, this open, empty, knowing presence, can I be agitated? Thought can be agitated. Sensations, or the body, can be agitated. The world can be agitated. But what about you? The one that knows the apparent mind, body and world. Can you, this open, empty presence, be agitated? See, in your experience right now, that you are, and this of course is just an image, are like an open, empty space, such as the space of this room. Nothing that appears within this room can agitate it. We are all sitting peacefully now, but if we were to stand up and start dancing or fighting, would the space of this room become agitated? You are like that. You, I, the presence of awareness, are undisturbable, imperturbable. We don't need to become imperturbable, and this undisturbability of ourself is not dependent upon the condition of the mind. Right now, you, awareness, are utterly imperturbable, and for this reason, another name for ourself is peace. Peace is not a quality that ourself has. It is what ourself is. Not peace of mind. Minds are more or less agitated. This peace that passeth understanding, that is not of the mind. It doesn't have to be sought. It is not hiding in the background of experience. This very awareness that is seeing, hearing, knowing, is pure peace itself, shining in all experience, however apparently agitated that experience may be. Ask yourself, can I, this presence of awareness, ever lack something? Thoughts can say that something is missing. Feelings can say that something is missing. But what about you? without referring to thought or feeling, is there the slightest motive in you to avoid the now and replace it with the not now? See that in yourself, this presence of awareness, there is not the slightest impulse or possibility to avoid the now. And what do we call this absolute absence of resistance to the now? The absolute absence of resisting what is and seeking what is not. What is the common name we give to this? It is called happiness. We all know that when we are happy, we are by definition not resisting the now and seeking in the past or the future. By happiness, of course, I do not mean a pleasant state of the mind or the body. I mean this absolute impossibility of ourself ever to resist or seek, to resist what is and to seek what is not. So happiness, like peace, is just another name for ourself. It is not a quality that ourself has. It is what ourself is. What else can we say for certain based on this current experience about ourselves? When I was driving here, or being driven here, the day before yesterday, from the airport in San Francisco, I was looking in the wing mirror of the passenger seat, and I noticed the words inscribed at the bottom of the wing mirror. And they said, "Objects in the mirror are closer than you think." A statement of pure non-duality. Objects that appear in the mirror of consciousness are closer than we think.
Really?
How close to a mirror are the objects that appear in it? Are there in fact two things? One, the objects that appear in the mirror, and two, the mirror? Or is it all just mirror? All we know of the apparent mind is the experience of thinking. And thinking is just a modulation of yourself, a modulation of knowing or awareness. All we know of the apparent body is the experience of sensing. And sensing is a modulation of yourself, awareness. All we know of the apparent world is the experience of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. These are all modulations of knowing, modulations of ourself. In other words, we never truly know a mind or a body or a world. These labels are just abstractions that thought superimposes on the intimacy of our experience.
Really?
From the point of view of experience, which is the only real point of view, experience is much closer, much more intimate. So close
Oh my goodness.
as to not admit the possibility of two things. One, myself, awareness, and two, the object.
I
that I know.
just don't understand why
Even that
Why?
is an abstraction. It may be a useful stepping stone, a halfway understanding to conceive of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions arising in awareness. But nothing arises in awareness. The only substance of all experience, the only substance of thinking, sensing, and perceiving is already
excuse me. Probably the most interesting that's happened in the last 20 minutes. Me sneezing.
What do we call this absolute absence of two things? A subject that knows and an object that is known. Take now the experience of hearing. Go to the sound of the air conditioning. Forget about the labels sound and air conditioning. Our only knowledge of the apparent air conditioning is the experience of hearing. How close does hearing take place to you? 5 meters away? 10 meters away? Refer only to your experience, not to what thought tells you about sound. Where is hearing? Is it close? Intimate? And in the experience of hearing, can you find two parts? One part that hears and another part that is heard? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance called my?
This guy's just... This is how cults start. Not because someone is convincing or that they're especially
And what
clever.
about
They
this
just
room?
they just talk for long
Thought
enough that you
says,
just like, I'll accept
I,
whatever you
the
say
inside
if you
self
just shut up.
in here sees the room, the outside world, out there. But what does experience say?
Experience says I shouldn't watch any more of these videos.
All we know of the apparent room is the experience of seeing. Remove seeing, and the room vanishes. In other words, we don't know a room. We just know the experience of seeing. Does seeing take place 5, 10, 15 meters away from yourself? Or is seeing utterly intimate?
What is being projected in the background that I can't see?
And can you find two parts to the experience of seeing? One part that sees and another part that is seen? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance? And what is the name, the common name we give to the absolute intimacy of all experience? It is called love. Love is the most familiar experience that we all know, the collapse or dissolution of the sense of a self in here and an object, other, or world out there. The collapse of this sense of separateness, distance, otherness, not me-ness, is what we call love. Love is just another name for non-duality. If we call it non-duality, there's just a few thousand of us in the world that are interested in it. But if we call it love, or peace, or happiness, then all 7 billion of us are interested in it.
What?
So why is it, if love, peace, happiness, are the natural condition of all experience, the substance out of which all experience is made, how is it that it seems not to be experienced? It is because of a single thought that rises in awareness, made only of awareness, which imagines that awareness shares the limits of the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that appear within it. It is like imagining that a mirror shares the limits of the objects that appear in it. With that thought alone, the ever-present, unlimited awareness, which is what we are, seems to acquire or take on the apparent limits of the body and the mind, just as the screen seems to take on the limits of an image when a film begins. As a result of this imaginary collapse or contraction of our self, unlimited, eternal awareness into a body and a mind, these qualities of love, peace, and happiness are seemingly veiled. And it is for this reason that the self, the separate self that thought imagines us to be, is always, by definition, on a search in the imaginary outside world for the apparently lost love, peace, and happiness.
I was excited when I found the last video,
However,
just because
this
it's another
imaginary
success.
inside self
I'll
cannot,
also be excited when
by
this video
definition,
ends.
find the love that it
If something
seeks,
happens, I'll be like, yo.
because its very
If not, I'll be
presence,
pissed
its
off.
apparent presence, is the veiling of that love. All the separate self seeks is love. In fact, the separate self is not an entity that searches, it is the activity of resisting the now
nearly there.
and seeking the not now. All this seeking ever wants is love.
All this seeking ever wants
But
is
love
for this video
is
to end.
the dissolution of this seeking, the dissolution of this imaginary
Although that
self.
said, it's interesting
In other words,
that
the
for some
separate self
reason this is in the game.
that seeks love is like a moth that seeks a flame. The flame is all the moth wants, but it is the only thing it cannot have. Because as the moth touches the flame, it dies. That is its way of knowing the flame. It becomes the flame as it touches it. That is the separate self's way of finding love, by dying in it. The death or dissolution of the separate self is the experience of love.
Are you done? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
So simply be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness, whose nature, whose inherent nature is love, peace, and happiness. Not a love, peace, and happiness that is in the background of experience that has to be sought, but that is shining in full view at the heart of all experience. In fact, experience is made out of this substance called peace or happiness.
Oh, zoom. Yes. What now? What? You kidding me, right? What's with all these things? What are they? Are they all speakers?